Hello YouTube gardeners. There is nothing like a homegrown watermelon. The taste is incredible. And today we are getting our watermelon seedlings transplanted into the garden. We will also be sharing some of the health benefits that watermelons have to offer. And here are some of the varieties that we are growing. This watermelon seed was given to us from Sustainable Seed Company when purchasing some other seeds, and I'm excited to try them. It says this medium-sized melon is said to have been brought by Russian immigrants. It's got a very sweet white cream-colored flesh and great for the home garden. Everyone knows about Sugar Baby. It's probably the most popular backyard garden watermelon. It says juicy sweetness, and they are very sweet, very productive watermelon plants. Black Mountain is also a high producer, candy sweet red flesh, and performs well in hot climates, which is exactly what Southern California is. Very hot climate. We just came out of upper 90s in May. It was crazy. We also have here Sangria and Mini Love. I'm excited to try Mini Love. Sweet juicy flesh with a minimum of seeds. The compact plants stay within a 36-inch space and will yield up to 6 fruits each. So this variety is perfect if you have limited growing space. Alright, I'm going to get these beauties outside, get them transplanted, and go over the planting and growing requirements for watermelons. When you read about transplanting your watermelon starts, they warn about making sure to not disturb the roots. Watermelon plants are very sensitive to root damage, so they recommend planting them in large cells, which we did here, and then getting them transplanted before the roots get too packed in the cells. And then when removing them from the cells and putting them in the hills or your rows, to make sure that you're very careful to not disturb the roots or not damage any of the roots. So I'm going to get these guys out very carefully, get them transplanted into these hills, and then I'll go over the planting and growing requirements for watermelons. Also, I should have mentioned, they do recommend direct sowing the seeds in place of starting them in cells because their root system is so sensitive. But as I've mentioned before, we have a huge cutworm grub problem, so this works well for us. We don't direct sow much because the cutworms and the grubs will just come up and eat the starts. This way the starts have a fighting chance. So we've pretty much moved to a Charles Dowding's no-dig method for that reason, because it's helping us fight the cutworms and the grubs. I'll talk more about that in a later video. Alright, we got the watermelons in their hills, and we are covering our melons for a few reasons. To keep the moisture in and to offer a UV barrier from the intense Southern California heat. Since these seedlings are pretty young, it's going to offer them some relief. Once they get more established, they're going to love the heat. And also a barrier from the pests, which we will mention common problems that you can experience growing watermelons in Southern California. Watermelons have many health benefits. Live Science notes that watermelons are mostly water, 92%, but this refreshing fruit is soaked with nutrients. Each juicy bite has a significant level of vitamin A, B6, and C. Lots of lycopene, antioxidants, and amino acids. There's even a modest amount of potassium. Foods that are high in antioxidants and amino acids allow our bodies to function optimally. All right, it's been a few days, and these guys are nice and established. We've added a couple of layers of Harvest Supreme aged compost for water retention, keeping the hills moist, but it's also going to feed the watermelon plants as we water. And here are the planting and growing requirements for watermelons. We are growing our watermelons in hills. We have added some Harvest Supreme aged compost into the soil so that the watermelons get plenty of organic matter and nutrients, keeping the soil moist, but making sure that there's very good drainage is very important for watermelon plants. Also making sure that the roots are not sitting in soggy soil. As I mentioned, we've mulched with some Harvest Supreme aged compost to help retain moisture, especially since we're going to be in the 90s. We also water at the vine's base in the morning hours, trying to make sure that we don't water on top of the leaves to prevent any bacterial or fungal diseases. We're growing our melons in a full sun location, and we're making sure that they get plenty of nitrogen with a fish fertilizer in the beginning stages of the plant's growth. And then once flowers appear, we will switch to side dressing the plants with some Dr. Earth organic fertilizer mix that is rich in calcium. And once melons set in, we'll also get them fed with a Dr. Earth fertilizer tea. And some of the common problems to look out for are pests. Pests are a big problem in Southern California. We see cutworms, cucumber beetles, white flies, spider mites, leafhoppers, aphids, pill bugs. The pill bugs you wouldn't think would be a problem, but they come in here and start gnawing on the stems of the plants, and they could take out a watermelon plant within about a week. And there are a few ways that we deal with these common pests, and we'll be sharing that in a future video. Another problem that we have are gophers. Plus, there are plenty of disease and fungus problems that can attack your watermelon plants. And when studying the various problems, I ran across a great resource that goes in depth of the many potential disease, fungus problems, and offers a great study on watermelons. Here is the link. It's at Epic Gardening. Check it out for a more in-depth study on watermelons. And here are some handy tips. To prevent fruit from rotting, put a barrier between the melon and the moist soil, or grow vertically. And we've all heard that if you thump the watermelon and it sounds hollow, it's ripe. But you can also turn the watermelon over to the side that the watermelon was sitting on. And if that area is still white, then it's not ripe yet. But if it's a creamy yellow, then it's ready. And for the sweetest watermelon, withhold water as the melons start to mature. It intensifies the sweetness. And also, melons should be picked when they are ripe because they won't continue to ripen once they are harvested. All right, that's it for now. For more short videos on growing food in Southern California, hit the subscribe button. Up next is planting and growing cantaloupe. They grow very similar to watermelons, but they have some distinct differences. Hope you guys enjoy your week and enjoy your garden.